In today's video, we're going over 4 things that you need to know what to do at retirement. So before you retire, what are you going to do with your TSP? Number 2, your FEGLI. Number 3, the enhanced annuity. And number 4, your survivor benefit. What do you do with these 4 things? That's what we're going over next. Hey, this is Tommy Neesmith. I'm a financial planner with Christy Capital Management. We're helping federal employees prepare for retirement. If you need individualized help, please go to christycapital.com and click on Talk to an Advisor. So let's just say you're watching this and you're getting ready to retire pretty soon. We're going to go over 4 things that you need to know what you should do and what to do with them. So number 1, what are you going to do with TSP? Of course, you can leave your money in TSP. But there are a handful of reasons why you may want to look into moving your money out into an IRA. The main things are control and flexibility. The people we talk to were generally putting together a financial blueprint where we show what your retirement can look like in the future. One scenario is you and your spouse living in your 90s to see if you have enough money. In this scenario, we're leaving everything traditional where you can see number 1 if you have enough money. And then number 2, you can see what your account potentially could look like 20 years from now. With all the traditional money you have, what does that look like later when all traditional money grows? We'll also do a scenario where we're doing some tax planning and we're shifting money from traditional to Roth slowly over time, so that when you show up in your 80s, it can look vastly different. This type of planning, in my opinion, makes big differences. As we're going over the 2 scenarios of that financial blueprint, you'll be able to see for yourself what type of difference it can make. Now, inside of the TSP, you cannot do that. There are no in-plan Roth conversions with TSP. What this means is whatever Roth you've accumulated while working, once you retired, that's the only Roth you can have in the TSP. You can't go into and take out $50,000 from your traditional TSP and move it over to Roth every year. That's just not allowed. But we can show you going over a blueprint that potentially there are benefits of doing that. So that's one of the big things to look at when you ask yourself the question, what am I going to do with my TSP? Now, along with that, if you think you need help figuring out your finances and figuring out if you have enough and what things you should or should not be doing, then working with a professional that understands your federal benefits, you can do that as well if you move money out to an IRA. The second thing to think about what to do is with your FEGLI life insurance. Now, option B is generally what is so expensive. Basic is your salary rounded up to the nearest $1,000 with $2,000 added on to it. It's the same price for your entire career and it only changes at retirement. What changes in option B? You can get up to 5 times your salary and every 5 years it goes up in price. If you're watching this, you're probably 50 years old and above. The FEGLI life insurance is starting to get expensive, and by 60 years old, it can be really expensive. At retirement, you got to make a selection. What do you want to do with it? Now, I hate to shamelessly plug us doing a financial blueprint for you, but one of the scenarios we look at is the federal employee dying, and does the spouse have enough to make it till their 90s? If you need life insurance, then you need it. And you need to figure out how to get it covered. It doesn't necessarily mean that FEGLI is the best way to cover it for you. So there is a term life insurance policy on the outside, and there are also different types of permanent insurance outside of FEGLI. The newer type of life insurance that's permanent is called Indexed Universal Life Insurance. But it's a death benefit that does not run out. If you need coverage, then you need to get it, but you may want to look at getting some quotes and see, does an outside policy provide better coverage for you and your family than FEGLI can do at a lower cost? Just remember, FEGLI gets more expensive every 5 years. At least option B does. And it gets very expensive at retirement. So at retirement, what are you going to do with FEGLI? Do you need life insurance? You need to have this figured out. The next thing is to figure out is the enhanced annuity. Are you going to be retiring around your 62nd birthday? At age 62, if you have 20 years or more service, you get the enhanced annuity. which instead of taking your high 3 times 1%, you take your high 3 times 1.1% times the number of years service. That's a 10% bonus if you have 20 years of service, at least age 62. So if you're thinking of retiring at age 61, you may want to look at this. Understanding your options and knowing your choices will be very important. Now, the fourth thing to think about is your survivor benefit election. You have a few choices. You can pick 0% and leave nothing to the surviving spouse. You can pick the 25% option and leave a quarter of your pension, or you can leave half of your pension when you pass away. Now let's talk about the cost of those options. So the 25% option will cost you 5% of your pension every year, and the 50% option will cost you 10% of your pension annually. If you pick the no survivor benefit at all, keep this in mind. It does tie into the federal health care. If you want your spouse to continue federal health care after you pass away, you can't pick the no survivor benefit option unless your spouse is also a federal employee or retiree. Then they would be able to get their own coverage. If your spouse is not a federal worker, then sometimes the 0% survivor benefit option is not really an option that you can take. Here again on the survivor benefit election, life insurance can be something that can be used to replace that. As we are doing the financial blueprint for you, we'll look at the scenario of you passing away early, and we can show leaving a 50% survivor benefit. Will your spouse have enough? We can also show you leaving a 25% survivor benefit and see if your spouse has enough then. You may have other assets that are high enough that the 25% covers everything. If we go over the full financial blueprint, it shows even when using the 50% survivor benefit, your spouse still does not have enough, then that's where life insurance can help step in to fill the gap. Just like with FEGLI, an outside policy can fill the gap if your health is good enough to qualify. Now, these are just 4 items with federal retirement that you need to know what you're going to do with. There are many others than that. So if you want to work with someone that understands your federal benefits, then please reach out to us at christycapital.com. One thing we didn't talk about is the special retirement supplement. If you want more information on that, please check out this video all about that. My name is Tommy Neesmith. I'll talk to you on the next video.